Good evening, Dan with Foul Play. Accompanied by you know who. Well, know and love him needs no introduction. The only movie star, let me get to him, that'll hang out in Southeast Kansas. At least he hangs out with me. He goes a lot of places. He's been a lot of places, let me tell you. Follow up from yesterday. Most of you, and thank you for watching too, those folks who've been kind of following our little adventures with our chicks. We took Buffy's chicks to their permanent home yesterday. The chicks were not ours to keep. The eggs were borrowed. And it's a great example really of we all had a need in some way, and working with those in the community to meet that need. And Buffy had a need too. So Buffy had a need to be a mama, and they had a need to grow their flock, and they didn't really have time to put chicks under incubators and watch it like that. We had a broody hen. We could offer our broody hen for that, and it was really a win-win for everybody involved. I hear Mrs. Foul Play calling the chickens out there, so if I get a little bit distracted, I don't mean to. But there's a great story, I guess you could call it great, behind that whole scenario. Now, when the chicks hatched, the good folks that loaned us the eggs said, when can we come and get our chicks? Because they're excited, they're ready to get their chicks, and we were like a little bit panic-stricken. Like, Buffy needs to be a mama first. We still barely got her out of broody. We're like, what are you talking about, huh? You can't have them yet, huh? No, they didn't mean any ill will by it, and we didn't take any ill will by it. They were just excited that chicks hatched, and we got 6 of them, and we're a pretty successful hatch. We started with 10 and ended up with 6. One died after it hatched, so it was really 7 that hatched. But we got panic stricken a little bit, and we're like, we feel like we need to honor their wishes. If they need to come and get their chicks, we need to honor that. So ran to the farm store, grabbed up the first set of chicks I could find, and they had a breed left called Chanticleers. And it was like that scene out of Christmas Vacation, like, get me somebody while I'm waiting. If anybody knows Christmas Vacation very well, you know what I'm talking about. I'm like, give me some chicks while I'm waiting. Give me those 4. Give me any 4. I just need some chicks. Because the idea was, if we had to take Buffy's chicks away, we wanted to have some replacement chicks, if you will, to put underneath her for her to raise in case they really needed their chicks back. So that was one big fail. Now, it turns out the good folks said, hey, just hang on to the chicks, it's fine. And then we had to go to isolation because of a certain virus. Mrs. Foul Play got pretty sick with a certain virus, and we've been in isolation. So we won't talk too much about that, maybe in a future video. And so then we ended up with chicks even longer than we thought, which was no big deal to us. But we also got to see how, once the chicks get a few weeks old, how mom says, hey, I'm done, they're on their own, you're good, right? So we got to witness that. So the 2 chicks, we got 4. We got 2 chicks to put underneath Buffy that first night, or the second night the chicks were hatched. We thought, we'll slip them under there, we'll just slip 2 under there and see what happens. It was a big fail. And I'm going to smack this mosquito that is, well, never mind. There's mosquitoes everywhere. Lewis and Clark said the mosquitoes were exceedingly great. I have a feeling they're nothing like they used to be back in Lewis and Clark days. So we slipped 2 chicks underneath Buff at night, and that's kind of when they're in a trance, so they're not really paying attention. That's when you introduce new chicks to the flock. A lot of times you do it at night when they're kind of sleepy and they're not really paying attention. So the chicks snuggle right in underneath her. She reared herself up and let them in, and we thought, oh, right, so she'll wake up and she'll just be a part of the little flock, right? And maternal instincts will kick in, she'll just take care of them. The next morning I went out early. She knew those babies were not hers. She looked at them again, and peck the snot out of them. Those are not my babies. And then we panicked a little bit more, but after some discussion, we knew we were going to keep the chicks by then. But it was really a knee-jerk reaction to, trying to meet Buffy's needs. So we have 4 little chicks. They're Chanticleers. The ones I rushed to the farm store to get to replace the ones that we thought we'd have to give up sooner from Buffy. Buffy was not fooled by these little bits. We're thinking they're all roosters, or they're cockerels right now. We think when we got them home and we did some sexing by wings, which has been about 70% accurate for us. This breed is a Canadian breed, cold weather hardy, and super friendly breed. We are just super happy with these. It's too bad Buff didn't want us to be a stepmommy to these, but they're really good little birds. We're super incredibly happy. They're docile, they're friendly, and we will probably keep one. Hopefully, again, we're thinking they're all roos, so we'll keep one, and that way we'll have a rooster on hand, and where we live we can do that. We have one we're going to name, or we have named, Mango. We have Mango, Hey, Twinkie, and Sunny, but Mango is the one we're really grooming to be our rooster, trying to make sure that he's nice and friendly, and he's going to have 14 future wives. So these are the Chanticleers, the ones that I rushed out to get, but I think they're going to be a nice addition to our breed as far as having a rooster. And we do have homes that have laid claim on 2, maybe 3 of them in the future, so we're super happy about that too. So we'll have more about the Chanticleers. They look more like Buffy, but Buffy knew right away, these are not my babies, but we'll raise them up and give them a good place and keep them happy. Additionally, in my last video, I talked about Buffy's potential response to the chicks being gone. And we have the experience with Buffy specifically from before, when we had a hen named Vanessa, and she was part of the Buff Orpington flock. And I'm telling you, the mosquitoes are bad flying around right there. After we took the chicks to their permanent home and we arrived back home, I found Buffy wandering the chick pen. And she stayed there for a good part of the day, quite honestly. So in a previous video, I described how when her flockmate left, how I really sensed that Buffy, missed that flockmate. And perhaps I'm projecting, but it seemed like she was wondering where her flockmate went. Especially when, you picked her up and she just buries her head right on your shoulder. She did the same thing yesterday too. When I picked her up out of the pen, or I called her kind of over to my lap, and she was happy to see her human again. She'd been a mom for a while, but she jumped up in my lap and she just buried her head right on my shoulder, right just like before, and just gave me the longest hug. And you get the sense that she's trying to say, hey, I'm missing part of my family. And maybe that's projecting, I don't know, but that bird spent a good part of the day wandering the chick pen. I'll show you some video. Shortly, so it really makes you think twice about what's going on in these little brains when they're just about that big. Maybe we don't give them enough credit. We didn't give Buff enough credit when we thought we could introduce the chicks to her. that we got from outside the flock. She wasn't fooled. Maybe we're not giving our birds enough credit. So I wanted to share that with you. A lot of folks were wondering and kind of texted me privately, just wondering like what happened. How did Buffy respond? Well, she responded kind of like I predicted she would. She really, in my opinion, missed her babies.